tariffs first kind of rolled out, and all these countries were like, oh, wait, maybe we shouldn't just rely on taking advantage of the U.S. for everything.
Exactly.
And they started investing in their own infrastructure and their own economy and their own businesses, and international stocks have roared.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait, you can invest in yourself.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't have to rely on other people. So
Exactly.
All thoughts and opinions shared in this recording belong to the participants. Views expressed are as of the recording date, are subject to change, and are not guarantees of future results. This podcast is meant to inform and educate and should not be seen as solicitation or endorsement for business.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Market Moment. My name is Isaac Johnson, joined with John Martfeld.
What's up?
And we left the mic up to honor Matt as he's dropping his kids off for the first day of school.
Missing man formation podcast style.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you, sir?
I'm great.
Good.
Life is good.
How dead is your lawn?
Yeah, it's not too bad. When your kids are responsible for mowing the lawn, our kids are home one for the summer, and he does not mow for a while. It
That helps.
magically
That
doesn't
helps.
burn out.
Mine is awful.
Is it
It's so bad. My poor dog went to the bathroom, and you know what they do the scoot.
Yeah.
And he came in, he was bleeding. It's like,
Oh gosh,
it's
not good.
It is dead. We need some rain bad.
Yeah, we do need rain.
Yeah.
We do need rain. Again, the one key ingredient to that is just don't mow, and it becomes weeds, and then you're fine.
Weeds are very resilient. Well, cool, man. Well, I've got something that I read online that I wanted to discuss about human traffic versus bot traffic online. We'll get into some market commentary from John.
Market, easy stuff, yeah.
And then we'll end with a post I saw on LinkedIn. So this is what was cool. There was a tweet that went out by a guy named Matthew Prince, and basically they had thought that with AI, bots are asking a lot more of the internet. They thought in 2027 was when bot traffic would surpass human traffic online, and it actually happened in August of 26. So right now, there's actually a website called Cloudflare, and it'll tell you what percentage of everybody using the internet right now is either a bot or a human, and it's 60% bot, 40% human. So
Okay. This is
it's insane.
It's insane. It also goes to this idea that, number one, there are a lot of negatives to AI, right? Well, to me, this is a massive negative.
Yeah.
Because think about all of the stuff going on right now, and I'm going to get into the weeds here, but we've got this controversy in the WNBA. We've got, all these things that have become this hot talking points that normally wouldn't be hot talking points necessarily. When you hear 60% of all posts are from bots, and you wonder how many of them are sinister, trying to divide or trying to create controversy or trying to create a buzz. Well, that makes sense. I mean, because you read some of these things. So number one lesson from this is don't believe everything you read.
100%. It's getting bad. There was my wife's family's from Oregon, so they're big Oregon Duck fans.
Oh, yeah.
And they started like their first kind of like fall camp practice, and a post went out that their starting running back broke his collarbone. And she like came home and was like devastated. Her dad was devastated. And the next morning we got up and I was making a cup of coffee. She was like, "Oh, that was fake." It's like, you just let that ruin your night. It wasn't even real.
It's pretty
And
bad.
it's bad.
And the other thing that's really, really bad about this stuff is they can take your voice, they can mimic your voice, and there's all kinds of things going on right now where they can actually, if you answer a one of those spam calls, and if they get your voice, right, they can mimic your voice and then do transactions like the crazy people out there can do transactions using your voice.
Yeah.
But think how bad that's going to get when they can take world leaders and, I mean, actual people that matter, take Putin's voice and say, I'm going to launch missiles or whatever, or Trump's, this stuff is getting kind of scary and out of control. When you hear 60% bot, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you stop it. Obviously, if they can track it, maybe they can stop it. I don't know.
I heard
crazy.
Another podcast I listened to talk about this said that the same guy, I don't remember what year that he forecasted, but he's like, there's a time in the very near future where bot traffic will be 1,000 times more than human traffic. Because it's not just posting on the internet. It's just whenever you ask ChatGPT something, it's got to go find answers.
Sure.
And so it's sending them out to all these websites, grabbing as much data as it can, and then coming back. And that counts as a visitor to that website.
Sure.
So like these small businesses are probably getting the highest website traffic they've ever gotten,
Right.
and no sales.
Right.
Right. And it's just confusing. Like Erica, I can't imagine your world navigating marketing with all of this. Erica's our marketing director in the back.
Yeah, she's in the back. She's camera shy today.
It is crazy. There's a thing called this is my generation. It's called the dead internet theory. Have you heard this? So it basically eventually the internet is going to be so run by AI and bots that people will just stop using the internet. So the human-driven internet has largely ceased to exist, and people will begin to seek human interaction again. So fingers crossed.
No, I actually believe that's the case. So my generation, these old farts, I know, like, going to my wife's parents and my mom, they're in their 80s, down through my generation, which is in the 50s, we like human interaction, right? I always think, how we evolve and our, like, even from the long time ago, how just different societies evolve with different things going on. I have a feeling babies are going to start being born like this with a hand and the head down. You could drive by any car in the country now. You drive by or you go to restaurants and everybody's got their head down looking at their phone, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, the young people mainly. Our generation, the older people, my kids give me trouble because I always like to make eye contact. I always like to conversate with anybody I'm around. Just that's my nature. And they get kind of frustrated with that, right? And it's like, that's how it used to be. We didn't have everything on a phone. We didn't have a phone.
Yeah.
As of like 25 years ago, we didn't have a phone. So this is scary to me where we've gone in your generation on the AI stuff, and the reliability or dependability on it just kind of scares me.
Yeah. It's big. So it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not. All right, it leads me a little bit to
it's making a ton of money.
Yeah, making a ton of money.
Yeah.
I was looking at the markets, trying to get just a clearer picture of where the markets are going, because they've been a little wild, but they're up, right? I mean, year to date, everything looks pretty good, even though we've had some pretty big sell-offs. We've had some interesting days. Today starting off a little bit weak on the NASDAQ side. So wanted to get some tidbits of information. So to give you some ideas. So the Treasury yields have topped 5.33. That's a new 19-year high, fueled by inflation concerns and spending worries. That concerns me, right? Oil prices, of course, have risen sharply amid Middle East tensions, and the end of the U.S.-Iran 60-day ceasefire, which is adding to inflation fears. And I don't know if you're following any of that stuff, but it does not look like there's an end in sight on that.
Right.
I think it's like either it's going to end because they're all gone, or the U.S. just gives up, which would depend on what side you're on. I mean, of course, we hate war. I don't like war and all that stuff. But the Strait of Hormuz, all this stuff is what it has opened up, and I've said this before in podcasts, it has opened the eyes of some of the Arab partners there that use the Strait of Hormuz, that they shouldn't rely on Iran. Iran is you can't trust them. They're an outlier state in that entire region. They're finding solutions to get oil and natural gas out of their countries a different way.
Yeah.
Which I think is a positive of this, where we're not dependent on Strait of Hormuz. So if this war doesn't end with Iran changing hands, whatever, maybe there's a solution of it won't be as important.
Yeah,
That's the one good thing.
Yeah, we talked about kind of similar stuff. I mean, probably a year ago when tariffs first kind of rolled out, and all these countries were like, oh, wait, maybe we shouldn't just rely on taking advantage of the U.S. for everything.
Exactly.
And they started investing in their own infrastructure and their own economy and their own businesses, and international stocks have roared.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait, you can invest in yourself.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
have to rely on other people. So
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, so let's keep going. There is right now on the global market, I thought this was an interesting statement from the European Central Bank and several officials. They had a statement that came out. They cautioned that AI-driven market rallies could face a sharp correction. Okay. Now, yes, they could face a sharp correction, right? I mean, anything can face a sharp correction, but there's one little thing on this, and this is the European Central Bank. The European Central Bank stating this, which I think is a little bit more important than just somebody out there, one economist or something. So I do think there's something to look into that, like this AI move. And I go back to 2000 financial crisis, and I've said this on the podcast again, but in March of 2000, somebody from a reputable firm made a comment on a radio show that if you're not in tech stocks, you're stupid. And that resonated with me. I was just brand new in the business, and I was in St. Louis. I was driving across the river, and I listened to that show every morning. And now looking back, I think to myself, okay, how many people listen to that every day? Okay, it was from a very reputable, large U.S. firm that had a market moment every day going on the radio. It was before XM radio, before we had cell phones and so on. But that statement, how many people went and changed their 401k to tech stocks? How many people went and changed their individual investments to tech stocks just to see the NASDAQ drop 80% over the next 2 years? And my point to that, every time we think it's clean and clear and the world is just a new world now and it's new world order and we don't have to worry about valuations, we don't have to worry about stuff, the market will come up and kind of bite you. And I think there's a little bit of an argument we've got overinflated. We've talked a little bit on this show. The market doesn't look as overinflated as it did in 2000 or in 2008. It's a different market. The AI stocks are ultimately probably going to add more value, much more value to the world than they're going to, add negative.
Right.
But there is a point where you can't continue to go at the pace that some of these stocks are going at. So today, for example, Micron and NVIDIA, which have been two big names and two rallying names that have done really well. I mean, Micron over the last couple of years has boomed.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA over the last 5 years, they're under pretty good pressure today, as an example. So, but this is day to day. You can't take, certain things and you have to keep it, in perspective. Like long term, everything's still probably fine, but there's a little weakness there. Just keep our eye on that. Another funny little global statement. This is from Russia. I love this. This is why I love America. We're capitalists. For the most part, we can say what we feel and mean and not be tortured for it. And I say for the most part because I think there's, sometimes not. But in Russia, the government says its economy remains strong after firing a top economist who warned otherwise. So it's really great to keep your stuff in order if you just fire anybody who goes against what you don't want them to say.
It's real easy.
So this is it's so great to be in the United States
that's why Matt's not here.
Exactly.
He wants to talk about this.
He doesn't want to talk about this stuff. Listen, you could U.S. at least the numbers we feel pretty confident that we're getting real data, and then the rest of the world you're not quite sure, and definitely not Russia. But I thought that's the little market headline stuff I have there. Energy spikes, markets reacting to high yields, geopolitical uncertainty, and the impact of AI's long-term on valuations.
Well,
so,
and it just,
kind of nutshell.
I mean, you talked about going back to 2008. Like, stuff just changes so fast. There's a post on LinkedIn that I found by Josh Brown, who runs another podcast that's fantastic called The Compound and Friends. And I think there's a little – I don't know if he's talking about himself or if he's just painting a picture. But he says, 5 years ago, I was taking my 5th COVID booster shot, listening to my friends talk about NFTs as an asset class. Esports were about to be bigger than Major League Baseball. Stock traders hung on Rory Kitty's every pronouncement. Every asset in the world was about to be tokenized. Celebrities were selling selling virtual real estate, and Mark Zuckerberg spent $80 billion on the metaverse. That was 5 years ago.
That's crazy.
Do you remember how insane that was? And then if you tried to invest in literally any of those today, you would be just losing money.
Yeah,
pretty rapidly.
It does change. Well, very fast,
and you can't get tied up with the hot thing right now.
No, I think the beautiful thing about what we do here when we're talking with a client, and this goes back to the client level, right? When we're doing financial planning, when you're an investor, it's about your story. Like all this stuff is noise. Like everything is noise. When you look at your plan. And we design a portfolio for a client based on their plan, based on their risk tolerance, based on their time horizon, based on their goals, needs, all that kind of stuff. When you squash all that together, that's the most important thing. The plan is the most important thing. The investment piece of it is very easy to get right if you know what your number is. In other words, 2008, if you lost 54% of your account value, it's because you were 100% invested in the stock market because that's what lost 54%. if you were in 2008 and you were a conservative investor, you would not have lost 54%. So even though these things are there are always going to be wolves at the door. The market's always going to get volatility. We learn new lessons every year.
Yep.
Going back 5 years was laughable when you say those things. So we learn stuff. Just stay the course as an investor and have a good advisor advising you how to diversify properly and invest properly according to your plan. And a lot of this noise will not affect you as much as it makes it out to seem it will.
Noise is a good word for it.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, last thing unrelated. How are we on time? Everybody good? Okay. You have the first pick in a fantasy draft. Who you take?
Whew, well, it depends on the draft. So I'm a big fantasy football guy, so it's not going to be that easy, young man.
Sorry. I thought you had a guy.
Well, no, I do. If it's a super flex, I'm drafting Josh Allen. If it's a regular normal
PPR.
draft, normal PPR, I'm taking Jameer Gibbs.
You and Gibbs?
I'm going Gibbs.
I think I'm Bijan.
I love Bijan too.
Mm-hmm. Anyways,
Anyway,
I worry about him being the bell cow this year.
About Jameer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think
Getting
he's
every
so
touch.
good.
He is good.
These guys, well, as you can tell, Isaac and I are football nuts.
Yeah.
It's getting ready to start. We've had 1 week of preseason games out the door. We got week 2 this week.
How desperate I am for football is I watched all of them. They were
them too.
terrible.
I watched them too, and there's names you'll never hear again. These poor guys. You think about an economy of scale. These poor young men trying to make a team.
Yeah.
And you're watching these preseason games, and a lot of these kids, a lot of these guys that have great plays and catches and throws and blocks and tackles, they're not going to make the team because the NFL is so hard to just make it in general. But
cool story out of Eagles training camp.
You know, surprise.
Sorry,
He's a big Eagles fan.
They drafted a guy in their international kind of push.
Yeah.
From Nigeria. Never played a snap of football in his life, but he's 6'4", 306 or something like that. His name's Uar Bernard. He's a freak, and so he got to play his first snaps of organized football this week. I think he might have got a tackle.
But those measurables,
he went to the combine and his
out.
measurables are Myles Garrett. He's he's a copy paste Myles Garrett, but he's never played football before. So
I think it's
fun to watch.
I think
really
you can
fun
teach
to
a guy.
watch. Yeah.
Hey, what you can't teach is 6'4", 300 and whatever.
You can't coach size. You just can't.
You can teach, how to swim, move, and stuff.
Yeah.
You cannot teach how to be big.
Well,
So, anyway,
any other parting thoughts? Good to go?
no, just
Awesome.
hot summer almost. I mean, it's the end is near on the hot summer.
Yep.
And I'll be complaining 4 months from now about how cold it is.
for sure.
So even though it's hot out, I still enjoy it.
Good.
Better than the cold.
Good. Keep praying for rain.
Yeah, we need
it
rain
so
for
bad.
sure. Yep.
Well, guys, thanks for watching the Market Moment. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below and we'll address it on our next one. And you have a good week.
The hosts of the Market Moment podcast are employees of Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC. Mach 1 is a registered investment advisor located in Rogers, Arkansas. A copy of Mach 1's current written disclosure brochure is available through the SEC website and available at disclosures.mach1fg.com.